Welcome to No Small Roles. This is the show where I speak with fellow actors about their careers and about some of their smaller roles in big movies and how those roles were, in fact, not at all small to the actors who played them. Today's guest is the one and only Owen Burke. Owen, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me, Ian. Good to see you.
Good to see you too. Now, I want to start by saying you are probably the most authentic and humble actor that I know, but you should not be humble because people know you from Boston Strangler, Confess Fletch, Free Guy, Coda, Castle Rock, City on a Hill, Billions, Super Troopers 2, The Punisher, Stronger, Polka King, Black Mass, The Equalizer, and I would say the super biggie, The Town. And there's a bunch of other credits which I did not include. So go to his IMDb or Google him. He's worth checking out, but you've seen him already. So Owen, thank you.
Thank you.
Before we jump into it, I have to ask you the very important question, which maybe you've prepared yourself for since you did say you watched an episode. Grilled cheese with or without tomato?
I mean, I'll enjoy it with both, but if I get to pick, I'll take the tomato.
Okay. That seems pretty common, actually.
Yeah.
I'm a purist, but I respect the tomato. Okay, so you obviously, like I said, are pretty authentic. You seem like a very real guy. So why are you an actor?
Oh boy. It's something that I really fell into, to be honest with you.
Okay.
I never considered it as a kid growing up. It was never a dream I had or anything like that. I was a young guy, late teens, early 20s, and I happened to, be persuaded to go to an open casting call across the street from my house.
Is this the one I know that it is? Or is this the...
Yeah.
Okay, because I do want to get to that. So we'll come back to that because I want to hear that full story. And I don't mean to cut you off. So
No, it's fine.
where did you... So given that this wasn't something you pursued, what did you see yourself doing in the future?
Oh, I was a lost soul, as they say. I didn't, as a teenager, I didn't have much direction. Community college, trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And where are you from? Boston?
In Charlestown, Boston.
Charlestown. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. So before we continue, because I do want to get into that story, because I don't know the full story there. We have a segment coming up later on in the show called Today's Kiss and Tell. Now, in one word, could you tease what your kiss and tell is about?
I'll say gritty.
Gritty. Okay. Gritty. I have to write it down so I don't forget. I have no memory. Okay. So now I want to get into it. So usually I like to talk to people about some of the smaller roles that they've done that have led to the bigger opportunities. But from my understanding, it started at the mega opportunity. And please continue with the story I interrupted.
Yeah, so I'm 20 years old at the time, and there's an open casting call across the street, literally from where I live. You can see it from the house.
Mm-hmm.
And my father comes to me and he says, Ben Affleck is he's making a bank robber film about Charlestown. You should go over there and audition for it. So try to get in it. And I went across the street and I saw a line, that went out of sight. It was so far.
Wow.
I said, I'm not doing that. I'm not waiting in that line. It would have taken hours. So I go back to the house, and my father says, no, I want you to go back and do it. They're looking for guys like you. You should go and do this.
Is your dad in the business? Why would he know this might be good for you?
I call it a hunch.
Okay. So
yeah, call it a hunch. He's not in the film business. He loves movies,
mm-hmm.
but he's not in the film business. No, I guess he just had a feeling.
And what was Ben Affleck to you? Obviously, we all know Ben Affleck, but were you like, oh, I like his stuff, or I know?
Oh yeah, absolutely. Because we grew up with Good Will Hunting. That's like mm-hmm. a favorite film of people around here. Mm-hmm. The guy was just like a like someone, from the area that, made it really big. So he
Yeah.
was like, really, he still is, he's a giant to us,
Yeah.
even at the time, not being in the business, it's like, oh yeah, Ben Affleck, he's from Cambridge. He did Good Will Hunting and all these great films.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I go back across the street and I see a friend of mine in line. So I cut the line a little bit so I didn't have to wait in the line of mostly actors and, people I knew from the neighborhood. It was an interesting mix of people that maybe normally wouldn't associate.
Was it dangerous?
What's that?
Was it a dangerous line to be in?
You know what? There was some dangerous characters in there. Some of them made it into the film.
Oh my.
And so I go in and they're holding it in the gymnasium. And when I get in there, they take my picture and they had two pieces of paper. One of them was for cops, people they wanted to read for cops, and
Mhm.
one was for people they wanted to read for crooks. They gave me the crook paper. And
I don't see you that way.
thank you. I don't either. And, and so I believe they tape recorded it. I don't even think they filmed it. I think they
Oh, really?
recorded it. Yeah, which I've never seen before.
Just audio?
I think so. Yeah,
Oh,
that's
that's weird.
how I remember it.
I wonder if they didn't want to scare people from the camera because that does, that can make people clam up. I wonder if that
Yeah,
was the choice.
maybe. And
Okay.
then after that, it was out of sight, out of mind.
What did
Like
you in that room? I'm sorry to interrupt, but in that room, what did you have to say for those like thug lines or the criminal lines?
it
Just
was something
generally.
about like exchanging a bag of money or something along those lines.
Were they dummy sides, do you think, or were they actually in the film? As far
I
as you
think they
remember.
were dummy sides.
Okay. And dummy signs, for those who don't know, are not actual lines from the movie. There's stuff maybe similar to what characters might be, but they don't want to release information to the public.
Yeah.
Okay. So you put it out of your mind, you moved on.
Yeah, when, taking classes at the local community college and then a few
Not
months
acting
down
class.
the road. No,
Okay.
just like the general requirements. It was very early on, so I
Mhm.
wasn't specializing in anything.
Okay.
And then a few months later, I get a phone call from this gentleman, Peter at CP Casting, and he's like, he called a few times, and I get back to him and I'm like, what's this about? Because I was
Mhm.
totally, out of my mind. And he was like, do you remember when you came in and you auditioned? Like, we want you to come back in. We want you to audition again.
So a callback.
Yeah, which no, it was before. I think it was maybe before. Yeah, I guess technically it was a callback because this, like I said, at the time I didn't have any acting experience, so
Yeah.
the casting process was a little different. They brought a handful of people back.
Okay.
So I go in and I read with the casting company, and then again it was kind of out of sight, out of mind. My sister and I had a laugh about it because she had actually read the book that the film is based
Oh,
on,
really? Okay.
and she was like, "Oh, what character did you read for? Any characters? Like, well, who was it?" And I told her it was this character named Des, and she goes, "Shut up, get out of here." She goes, "He's one of the guys in the main crew. I can't believe it." She goes, "You better get this. That would be so cool." And so that I actually, at first, I have this kind of like, it was almost like a joke among my friends and I as I'm going through the process because they're
Yeah.
like, imagine if this kid gets in this film. That would be so funny. That would be crazy. And then they call me back again. And the group of guys is even smaller this time.
And
And
this is
this
at
time,
CP Casting. And CP Casting also like launched Ben Affleck and Matt Damon. Is that right? I think they helped.
I think they were a part of Good Will Hunting.
Okay.
I
I
think
heard.
they were a part of Good Will Hunting. Yeah. And I know I've heard that Ben and Carolyn and Matt, I think they were close.
Okay. Carolyn's
Yeah.
amazing. Okay, so
Yeah,
I'm
she
sorry.
is.
Continue. You're back in the pool again, but with a smaller group of guys.
Yeah, so this time when they call me back, they're like, "We want you to read with the director," and I'm like, "Oh, I think that's
I know who
Ben
that is.
Affleck. That's gonna be weird, seeing somebody that I know from films, like to see him in person. That's gonna
What
be a little strange."
was that intimidating, or were you like, "Oh, that's cool. I'm going to see a famous person"?
A little bit of both, to be honest with you,
Yeah.
because it's, I don't think I had, outside of maybe like as a kid, like getting autographs outside of Fenway Park with my friends.
Mhm.
I don't think I had met like a famous actor before. I think that was, a first time. So when I remember, like when I walked into the room, you see the casting director sitting there, and then I see Ben Affleck sitting there. It's like it was kind of strange. Like, oh,
Yeah.
he exists out in the real world. He's not just a TV person.
Did he say hi, break the ice a little bit, or just like, come on in? He's sitting back
Yeah,
there.
yeah, he was really nice. He was really
Okay.
nice. But you know what? I kind of appreciated in hindsight. He treated me like an actor.
Yeah.
Even though I was just basically someone coming off the street at the time. Like
Did
I
he
didn't
know
have
that
any
though?
experience.
Did he
No,
know? Okay.
yeah, I don't. I think he knew. I think he knew for
Oh,
sure
okay.
that I didn't have any experience. Yeah,
But it's what he wanted, obviously. It sounds like.
yeah, yeah. And so I read with him. And then a few days later, I get a call and they're like, we want you to come in for an interview with the director.
So this is step 4. So the initial, a
It
call
was a
back,
long
call back.
process. Yeah.
This is 4. Okay. Wow.
And so it was, I go over to this office over in Cambridge and I sat down with Ben Affleck for a while while we spoke, and he talked to me about the film and what he was looking for. And, it was, he asked me a lot of questions about myself, and yeah, it was kind of like it was a surreal experience at the time for me. It was really
Yeah.
like, a total departure from, the life I was living.
Sure.
Yeah. And
So,
then,
yeah, I'm sorry.
oh yeah, and then, a little while after that, maybe a few days had gone by, and now, my family and friends are like, this might actually happen. Like he might actually get this thing.
Was your sister like, oh my
Yeah,
God?
yeah. I think she was more excited than I was. Her and my father were more excited than I was.
Oh my God.
And yeah, and then, a few days later, Carolyn Pickman called me and told me that I got the job.
This job?
That one, that's the one
Are you that pale guy on the right there?
with the mug. Yep.
Yeah. Oh. Now, actually, I want to ask about that photo. Is that actually a scene in the movie? I don't remember that.
It is.
Okay.
It is. It's actually with Pete Postlewaite, who I believe has
Oh,
passed away since.
yeah.
But it was a scene where he's doing a monologue about the Fenway job that we're about to do.
Okay. Yeah, I don't
Yeah.
remember. I love this movie, though. I think maybe he passed. Is it possible he passed away before the film came out? Or
I think that's right.
yeah,
Yeah.
he was great. So you're like working with mega legends, and you're just
Yeah.
not just this local kid, but you're this local kid with no
Yeah,
experience.
absolutely. Absolutely. Yeah, that's what I was. Yeah.
And then you got this character specifically for those who don't remember.
Desmond Elden, systems tech at Vericon, 22 years old.
What's Vericon? Is that like the electric company? I don't remember.
It's like Verizon. It's like a knockoff of Verizon, I think.
Okay. So you find out you got the gig. Are you like, what? Did that freak you out? Like, I think I would have been like, this is really cool, but I'm terrified.
That probably should have been my response.
Maybe it's good it wasn't, it sounds.
Yeah, I think so. I think, I was 20, I was a young, cocky kid, and it's just, it was like, oh yeah, this is cool. Let me do this and see where it takes me.
And were there rehearsals on this, or you just got to set and were shooting right away? I mean, how did this play out for the inexperienced guy?
There were a couple of scenes that we met up to rehearse. I think there's a scene that takes place in the hockey rink where I have some dialogue that we met up to rehearse that one. But
is that scene somewhat like this?
Scenic roof? Got a problem. What? Oh, look.
So that was one of the first scenes you shot. Is that what you said?
One of the scenes we rehearsed.
Sorry. Okay.
Yeah.
And was that, so you probably did you know Jeremy Renner did you know who he was before this?
No, I think at this time, I believe he had just filmed The Hurt Locker.
Okay. Oh,
And but I believe it was before that film had gotten released, so he had a lot of buzz. I could tell like he was highly respected
Yeah.
among all the other actors and the production, because people were like, oh, this thing he just did, like he just absolutely like knocked this huge role out of the park. Like this is gonna get like a lot of awards buzz. Like that was the vibe I was getting, and from some of the chatter I was hearing from people, but I didn't know him from his film work.
I remember just not long before that, there was a reality show with he and some other actors where it was just these up and coming actors with some buzz. And he was like passing out headshots and interviewing and getting opportunities, but nothing was really happening. And then bam, like with Hurt Locker and then this, and then all the Marvel films.
Yeah.
It was really cool to kind of see that with you and obviously with him as well. Okay, so please, yeah, tell me more about this experience.
So we filmed from, I want to say, like late August until maybe December, or like maybe past Thanksgiving of 2009. And it was just like, the time, like, unbelievable, like the time of my life, like, all the getting to film in Fenway Park, for a few weeks.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
Getting to, wear all those the crazy the skeleton costumes, the nun costumes. It was
play
like
with
it
guns.
was cool. Yeah, getting to meet all these great actors, getting to hang out with them, offset some,
Yeah.
it was a blast. It was, I'm forever grateful, to all those people, to Ben, Carolyn, everybody involved.
And in addition to that, I would imagine the residuals have not been bad.
Yeah, absolutely. The film is continued on.
It's on TV every day. Every
Yeah.
day it's on. And every time it comes on, like if it's, usually I'll turn the channel if it's something else, but that I leave on because it's such a good movie.
That's how I am with Shawshank Redemption. That's one of the films I'll watch with commercials.
And Not the Town, would you not do it? Do you mind watching yourself?
I don't like it, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I've seen the film a couple of times. I saw it at the premiere. My friends made me go to the theater and see it with them, which I regret because everybody in the theater was trying to talk to me after we went.
Oh, did they? Of course, they recognize you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you were at that point glowing a lot because you were very pale.
Yeah, I'm still very pale, but
I don't know. I don't think of you as pale. That's amazing. Like, wow, what an experience. So so from there, you have this experience, the movie's premiered, you see it's a success. Where does that leave you as far as your career? So you're like, oh, I really want this. Did you really want to be an actor at that point? Because you were?
So I had the privilege of working with so many really talented, dedicated professionals that I got to see it done right.
Yeah.
And so I had that example of, it took me about a year, maybe less than a year, but it took me some months, to really say, like, do I want to go for this thing? Because I don't mean this as like a pat on the back, because it's actually a difficult thing. I kind of struggle with perfectionism. So like whenever I go to do something, like I kind of can go haywire with it. Like it's never good enough. So I take things really seriously, things I want to do.
Yeah.
And so I knew, by watching guys like Ben, Jeremy Renner, George, another great actor. George, I'm talking about George Carroll, Slane, as he goes by.
Oh yeah, I don't. Was he? And I'm a dummy. I don't know him. Was he known out? I'm a dummy.
He's a really talented, successful rapper.
Okay, whatever.
Yeah, it goes on big tours, the whole thing. He does really well, really talented guy. I keep in touch with him a little bit. He's
very Slane.
Yeah, he's a really good guy. So I got to see all these people work and how they do it. And so the process of, I wasn't just gonna, run out and, try to get in touch with people and ask for this, ask for that. Like I treat it like a craft.
And no one has trained as much as you, as far as I know, you have done some serious training since then.
Yes. So when I made the decision to pursue this, like I said, I was in community college, kind of kicking around. I didn't have anything good going on in my life as far as like professional ambitions, or even, even the education was still like, I was still in the beginning of it. And when I made the decision to give this thing a try, in hindsight, it was an easy choice because I'm like, what else was I gonna do?
And the money's not
It
bad.
was cool. Yeah, when you work, it's nice. Yeah.
And this obviously probably got you into the union immediately, I imagine.
So I got good advice. It was actually now it's kind of coming back to me a little bit. We had a rap party, and I got to sit down and talk with Jeremy Renner about it. And I said, "Hey, man," I said, if I wanted to, do this thing, like give it a try, what would you recommend? He said, "There's a lot of different methods." He goes, "Pick one and learn it." And I asked him about joining the union and stuff. I think it was him. And he said, don't join the union right away. He goes, I think he said, you get a free one. He goes, and you want to do as many projects as you can. I'm paraphrasing now, so forgive me. But he basically said, pick a method, learn it, and practice your craft.
That's awesome. Great.
That was the advice I took. I got so lucky. I took some acting classes with CP, with Boston Casting. And then once I kind of, got a feel for the basics, then I said, okay, I think I want to, learn a method now. And I found this acting studio, dear friend of mine, Scott Fielding, runs it in Boston, the Michael Chekhov Actors Studio, Boston. And I linked up with him. I learned Meisner method. I did a lot of Chekhov. And, and I just, as I got into it, it's funny, the acting, like the early acting experience for me, acting training, it was almost like an unlearning process.
Yeah.
It was about being present, listening, things that at that time in my life, I think I know everything. I know what I want to say. I'm waiting for other people to stop talking so I can say what I want to say.
Yeah.
So for me, it was like an unlearning process. But yeah, so I'm into the acting training now, and I actually go 3 years between my first and second job.
What was actually, before we hop into that, pause for 1 second. I want to do this new segment only for your episode.
Okay.
It's called Shoulda Listened to Affleck.
Hey! Listen. 3 of us, even if we get out of here, we're getting the full ride. Okay? You walk out with your hands up, you could get 7 years. I want to think the worst here. Fuck you. Cover your ears!
If you hadn't been so rude, you may have survived.
Yeah. That's a gnarly shot. I've only seen it a few times. That's a gnarly shot.
That must have been fun doing that.
It was so much fun. I got it on the first take, the fall.
Oh, good for you.
Yeah, either that or they were just like, all right, we got enough of him.
Who doesn't want to fake getting killed? Like, that is my dream. I don't think I've gotten to do it yet, is to die on screen. And you get to do it on the first one.
Yeah.
Did he tell you, before we go into this next one that was a couple of years later, did he tell you why he picked you? Why you were the choice?
No, he never did. No.
Let's call him.
But like I said, he was very supportive, and the way he directs a set, like he really respects everybody's process on the set, even like me, where I'm like, I'd be asking him like, hey, what do you want me to do? And he'd say, do whatever you would normally do.
That's cool, though.
Yeah, it was really cool.
Gives you that freedom. You don't feel restricted. So, okay, after this is over, it premieres. You're like, oh, I want to be an actor because why not? And you train. And then what is this next opportunity?
So I'm in acting school. I'm working as a bar back, doing that whole drill. And
Was
and
this
then a movie.
depressing, or were you like, okay, this is what I got to do to get to the next step? Or were you like, oh, I guess maybe I won't work again?
Oh, I definitely had a fear that I would never work again. I had that fear,
Mhm.
but
We all do.
thankfully I got so much just juice out of the acting classes. Like I love the acting classes so much, and I trusted Scott, my friend Scott, who runs the program. I
Mhm.
trusted him when he was telling me, you're improving, like you're doing well, like you got some I guess you got some chops, so to speak.
Mhm.
You're gonna be all right.
And yeah, so that gave you the confidence, or that gave you the confidence to relax and be like, okay, I will work again. I just need to keep on training. Another opportunity will come, which was this. And what was this?
The Equalizer.
This right here.
That's the one.
Let's show the clip and then we can talk about it.
Okay.
Let me find it. Yeah, Denzel didn't like the way you spoke to her. This is so not you. Like, for those who are tuning in, you are such a nice guy. I mean, obviously, I've maybe seen you in my life a handful of times, but you're just such a good person. So to see you play such a jerk, that's got to be fun.
It is. It's very fun.
What,
It's a
were you,
lot of fun. I have had a casting director in New York tell me the same thing. She said all the guys that I call in, for these, bad guy roles, she goes, they're all the nicest guys. I thought that was funny.
good. Who wants to work with an actual creepy, scary guy?
I know. Yeah.
So how did this happen? How did this is CP again, or what?
This was Boston casting.
Okay.
So one of the things I did that I give myself a pat on the back for doing, um, when as I'm in acting classes and I'm like, I want to audition more. I I printed out a headshot and a resume and I walked right into Boston casting. I said, I want to talk to Angela Perry. And somebody was like, oh, yeah, I don't think they knew I was an actor. I think they thought I was like the mailman or something.
Yeah.
And, and, um, and so I go talk to her and I'm like, hi, my name's Owen. Here's my headshot, my resume. I'm an actor. I want to come in here and audition. And she takes it and she looks at it. She goes, oh yeah, you're the kid in the town. Yeah, yeah, I'll call you.
That sounds like her.
Yeah. And so that's how I ended up my introduction to Boston casting. And
Good for you.
yeah, and so she started calling me in, and I was, like I said, it was 3 years between my first and second job. I don't know how many auditions I went on, but it was quite a few.
Mm-hmm.
And this one, the Equalizer, came into town, and I auditioned with Angela, and then got a call back, and I got to audition with Antoine Fuqua. And I could tell he really I think he wanted to work with me. I think he liked, what I brought to it. And I'll tell you a funny story about filming, unless you wanted to get
No,
something
no, no,
else.
please.
So when we were filming it, like I said, it had been some time. Since I had been on set last, like a big set like that, and I was a very overzealous, excited young actor, and I did something that I probably would have done a little differently today, but I'm glad. I think it worked out. So most of the lines that you show in that clip were not in the script.
Oh, so that's natural to you to say that to people's mothers.
Well, I was really going for it.
Good for you.
You know,
Oh, so that you felt that freedom.
Yeah, well, I did, but nobody told me to do that.
Oh, that's
so
great.
So I go for it, and thankfully the right people were happy with it. So as I start, I'm like, I'm really feeling this. I'm going for it, and I'm improvising. I'm going to do this thing the way I want to do it.
Good.
And the script supervisor, after the first take, the script supervisor comes running over to me, and she's like, "No," she's like, we want you to say this. This is what's on the page. Say this." And then Fuqua walks over to me. He goes, "No," he goes, "Keep doing what you're doing." He goes, "I want you to keep doing what you're doing."
And did Denzel have a word on that as well, or did he?
Oh, I mean, he was. I think he was like an executive producer on it, but he, no, he just let me. He not let me. Yeah, he let me just kind of do my thing. He didn't say which way about it.
And were you aware who he was as a mega star and how
Oh, yeah, of
talented?
course.
Okay, and that did not intimidate you again because you're this young guy.
Yeah, yeah,
Oh, and these are such fun roles too.
yeah.
Did you get? Oh wait, we see. Do you? I forget. Do you die? You do die, right?
It's kind of like alluded to that
Okay.
Denzel's character gives me a pretty serious beating, maybe a killing off
Okay.
camera.
Oh, we wanted to see you die on camera, but
I know that would have been fun. It would have been another day's work too.
that's why I don't recollect it. So was that just one day's work?
They gave me 2 days. They gave me a day to come in and like rehearse a little bit, get
That's
familiar with
cool.
the location.
That's great. I mean, it's amazing because that's a big part of the movie. And again, this is one of those movies that's on all the time. And you think that was just like 1 or 2 days of my life. And yet it's this
Yeah,
thing
it's
that we
funny
have
how it
done.
works like that with the, people, obviously you meet people and they have so many questions about like, the film work that we've done.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, when you keep it in perspective, it's like, it's not that much of my life, it's just, a series of, days, weeks, if you're lucky.
Yeah. But it's those residuals that kind of we need those to kind of stay afloat. And two mega movies like that, that's not a
Yeah.
bad pool of stuff coming in.
Yeah.
So this then led, so again, another huge movie. This led to many more roles. Like you've done,
Yeah.
I mean, so many.
Yeah. The Equalizer was really the film that kind of like broke the dam open for me. After I worked on
Oh,
the Equalizer, I started to book work pretty consistently, like, 3 to 5 projects a year.
that's amazing. That's huge to get that
Yeah.
many. And you're like, for example, Free Guy was one of them.
Yeah.
I mean, you've done so many. You went on. Now I want to play you this fun scene in this is just so not you. So when you got this, I'm like, whoa, Super Troopers 2.
Yeah.
Come on.
6, 7, 8.
Number 9. This is 10.
Technically, you have to drink all 10 to get the dessert.
Oh, you challenging me? This will be gone in 3 seconds. I'll have the butter tart Yule log. Come on, chop chop.
Just do it, dude.
How did you find that accent? I think I auditioned for this too, and I did this really bad, like French Canadian accent, very offensive. I'm sure. I bet I said a boot.
Well, that's a big part. That French Canadian accent, they use that in the film. I think the Mounties,
Okay,
they go like way over the top with it, where it might be
hard.
offensive.
But this is so good. Like that is you're so again, you're just so dropped in, you're just so natural. You don't do it could because it could be easy to go big with this, and you're just like a real guy kind of in this situation. It's just your training is very obvious there.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, I got lucky. When you're working with like comedic actors like that are so good at it, like my plan was to go in and just play it straight, and let the contrast help with the comedy.
Yeah, that's totally it. Like to go in and then be funny is not funny. So that was
Exactly. Yeah.
And were they improving or were they on script? A little both?
A little both, yeah. I got to see the guy, they're all hysterical, but I think the guy who cracked me up the most was Brian Cox of Succession.
Oh yeah. And Manhunter.
Oh my God, he's got this scene where he's in the film where he's singing karaoke.
Yeah.
Hysterical.
He's a legend. He's amazing.
He is. He's an unbelievable actor.
Did you ever see him as Hannibal Lecter in Manhunter?
No.
He's the first Hannibal Lecter. You have to see it. It's a really good
Okay.
Michael Mann movie from like 1986.
Okay.
He was my
I'll check it out.
Yeah, it's great. Really good movie. Okay, cool. So this led to other jobs. I want to play just a couple more clips, and then I want to ask you a couple more questions, unless there's something specific you want to share at this point.
No, go for it.
I want to play this funny scene with Jack Black in Poker.
Okay.
I have problem. I am very scared of my roommate. He just came from solitary.
Welker?
Yeah.
Yeah. You stay out of his way.
I think he's mistake that I am in same room with this man. I never kill nobody or even punch a face.
Whatever you did, it must have been pretty bad if you ended up in here.
Again, you're the straight guy to the broad comedy, and it works.
He stayed in character the whole time he was working.
Really? Like behind the scenes?
Yeah.
Oh, wow. I guess that's how you keep the accent. I didn't know he did that.
Yeah, really nice guy, Jack Black. Really nice guy.
That's cool. I haven't seen that movie. I will. I have one more clip I'm going to play, and then I have a couple more questions, and I won't keep you forever.
Yep.
Or I might keep you forever. All right. Here it goes. This is The Punisher.
Now I'm gonna take that gag out. If you scream, you die. That's it. You don't have to start, saying a bunch of weird shit. That's what Joe did. Don't be like Joe. All I want to know is Gabby.
Gabby's not coming back.
Brother, you are in the wrong place at the wrong time.
You know how a guy misses a shot from 10 yards? A little shake, plus a little distance. You miss.
And Owen dies again. The one thing I want to do in a movie or TV show is to die, and you get to do it every time. It's not fair. You didn't sign the Poker King or Super Trooper, so there.
Yeah, I get to live a little bit.
Okay, good. Okay, so given all your experience, all these opportunities, so you reached out to, eventually you got into the New York market and more broader the States, right? How are you still very active? You still pursuing acting? You're focusing on other things?
So I'm focusing mostly on other things right now. I still audition a little bit. I was very fortunate to be involved in a commercial campaign for Sam Adams.
Oh, wow.
Which I hadn't. I've done a little bit of commercial work, but this one has been a lot of fun. It's like we meet up every few years, have a lot of laughs.
Is it national?
Shoot a few spots, yeah.
Oh, that's huge. That's great.
Yeah, we shoot a few spots and then go our separate ways. It's really fun. It's a really cool crew.
That's amazing. I've always zone out during commercials, so I've missed you, but I will pay attention, I guess. But that's congrats on that. So given all these experiences, because you got some really nice advice from Jeremy Renner and others kind of coming up, is there any advice that you would share with up and coming actors, something that you think is important to know that you wish you had known?
Well, like I said, I was very fortunate, to be around, such, dedicated, serious professionals when I first started. So I was able to probably learn a lot of things that maybe would take some other people more time. I would say, to treat it like a craft, like the way a plumber, goes to school, or an electrician goes to school, or a carpenter goes to school. Like that's what an actor does. It's a craft, it's a trade. And
what do you say to people that don't have a ton of money and maybe can't afford that?
There's plenty of good options that are affordable.
Okay.
There's good options that are affordable.
And even maybe working in independent films and stuff, or college, student films, to build that experience would help as well.
Absolutely. I've done all of that.
Okay.
Yeah. And it helps. It helps.
I've seen some of your amazing emotional indie work, which is, you are so good. I don't have those other clips right now, but you've done some really beautiful work. I mean that sincerely.
Thank you.
Now, do you have, before you hop on a set, do you have any hocus pocus, any sort of thing you do to kind of pump yourself up or to get in the zone?
Music is big for me.
Okay.
Music is big. Music helps me color in, what I'm trying to bring to it.
So an emotional role, it might be some sad music, or like a pumped up, like angry killer role, maybe, I don't know, something heavy metal.
Yeah, Metallica.
Okay.
Yeah.
Something with Satan. Okay, cool. Now I want to bring it back to the segment called Today's Kiss and Tell. Now, this is a segment where we share a little behind the scenes story that maybe other people don't know. And your word was gritty. What is your story, Owen?
So this poor guy, friend of mine, won't say his name.
What's his name?
He gets cast to play a cop in a film in Boston.
What film?
I can't say.
Okay, shoot. All right.
And he wants to get a feel for like the gritty parts of the city to get into character.
Okay.
He ends up going out in the wrong neighborhood, and he ended up getting like jumped and mugged.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
How did he did he get hurt or anything?
He got bruised up a little bit. He got a little banged up. It wasn't like, he didn't have to go to the hospital or anything like that, but he was shaken up.
Did it help his experience though to play the character he was hoping to play, or that he did play?
To speak for him, I would say, yeah, that'll ring your bell. That'll wake you up and put you in the world.
What was his name again? Okay, I give up. Now, before we wrap up, I have to ask you and I think I know the answer, but what is your most cherished moment on a production or on set? I'll put you on the spot.
I would say I worked on a film called Jungle Land.
Oh yeah, I didn't put that clip. Okay.
And it was a real like departure from other roles I've played. I got to do a really, like a character that I hadn't played before, and it was at like a difficult time in my life. And it was just a really it was an uplifting. It was kind of like a light in the dark for me at the time.
Do you see in general, and in regards to that role, do you see that as a kind of therapy to do acting, or especially in that case?
Yeah, for sure.
And that was Charlie Hunman, is that correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
And Jack O'Connell as well.
Okay. Seek out Jungle Land. I've actually never seen that movie. I've seen some clips.
Cool film, really cool film.
Do you know? Well, I'll look it up, but I'm sure we can find it. We'll find it. And lastly, is there a dream role, a dream thing that you would like to do, a dream director, co-star? What is your ultimate goal? Of course you'll continue it, but what is something you would love to do in this business? And do you do stage?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Wow, you do it all.
I'd love to play like a detective, like the lead actor detective. I'd love to do that. Maybe like a show about a detective, I think that would be really cool. Or a lawyer. I'd love to play a lawyer.
That's all I play.
You're so good at it.
As a lawyer, because it's so who I am.
That's good, man. That's what you want.
Lawyers and doctors. Wheelhouse. Yeah. And they don't get to be killed. They tell other people that their people got killed. I have no doubt, because you are so good, so authentic. You never boast. And if anyone I know can boast about work they've done, it's you. You've just done such beautiful work. And I'm so happy for all the opportunities you've had and how you've knocked them out of the park. And for your partner, one of the coolest people I know, who is very much like you and is very humble and is so dedicated and so professional. So you two as a team are amazing people. So yeah, that's it. Anything you want to promote or talk about that's coming up or whatever?
Nope. You've probably had enough of me by now.
Never. No, especially because I haven't seen you in maybe a couple of years. Okay.
I know, it's been too long.
Thank you for joining us, Owen.
My pleasure. Thank you.
Awesome talking to you. Hang on for 1 second. I'm going to play our exit theme. This is Owen Burke. Check him out on Google, IMDb. Amazing actor, really good, humble, authentic. That is number one. He's very authentic in every way. Thank you, Owen. Now let me start the little exit song before you leave, and bye. But stick around.